Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of the Lume Plotters. The birds are chirping, the bees are buzzing, the cats are purring, the sun is shining, and the sky is blue. Ah, what a lovely
Everything
day.
else going on? That's it? It is actually quite sunny. Compared to yesterday, it was super dreary and dark, and then today the sun decided to come out. So
It's so clear, right?
better.
It's a lovely, clear day.
It is.
Always nice to have that.
So, what are we talking about today?
Yeah. What do we have today? First of all, what do you have on your wrist today?
Oh, before we even talk about what we're talking about. Okay.
Yeah.
So, today I am wearing my Speedmaster for, Speedy Thursday. Guys, we're recording on Thursday. I forgot to wear it on Tuesday. I wore it yesterday and today. I put a new strap on it, which this is the Horween shell cordovan strap
Okay.
from Hodinkee, and it's got what makes it cool is Horween shell cordovan is made in, or tanned, I should say, in Chicago, and they have a very distinct stamp that's an oval stamp that says Horween in the middle. Well, they got a special stamp that instead of Horween in the middle says Hodinkee. And the way that they put it on is kind of cool because I don't know if you can see this, but they just stamp it.
Right.
And it's not even like lined, it's just because the stamp is significantly bigger.
The stamp is probably
the
done on
stamp
the
is-
big, not on the strap when it's cut, but before it's cut, right?
Yes, and then they cut the strap, or they just, probably you're right. Because I was thinking they stamp it and they just overlap it. But yeah, I guess you're right. They stamp it and then they cut it up for the straps. Because Horween, of course, is just giving the leather,
Yeah.
and then the straps are made somewhere else. Who knows where?
Correct.
Some sweatshop in China.
Yes, you are in a sunny mood today, right? The opposite of me.
The thing is, on these days, I go to work, I come back, I do this, and then I got to go back to work. And I'm just tired. It's a Thursday. I'm ready for the weekend.
Yes.
I had a long weekend. So generally on the weekends, I can sleep in a little bit, but I had the opposite last weekend because I was at the, the Asian Le Mans race, the 4 hours of Dubai.
Yeah, the 4 hours of Dubai.
And I had to leave the first day at 4 a.m. I had to leave Elaine to get there. Because those,
that sucks. Of course, when you're marshalling, it's not easy.
Yeah,
but
it was cool. The reason it's cool because apparently Le Mans has a regulation stating that all pit lane marshals, generally we stand on the wall opposite the garages where we have a view of the pit stop.
Right.
Because essentially pit lane marshals are there to ensure basically the safety of the pit stops, the safety of the work in the garage, I'm too British now. And then of course that the rules and regulations are being followed, as well as, what else? There was one other thing.
Rules.
I don't know. Whatever. So essentially safety and regulations, right? To make sure that the other teams don't get an unfair advantage, which we saw this in Le Mans. There's a regulation saying that during all pit stops, cars have to come to a stop perpendicular to the garage door. Well, certain teams were stopping at 45-degree angles. So that they could get a better launch out.
Oh, I see.
Which would then in turn save them some time. So it's little stuff like this.
So what do they get then? I mean, if they do park in this illegal way and do their stop, what?
It's usually drive-through penalties, stop penalties, which will then take the time back.
Yeah, that hurts.
So we had a lot of, and then of course in certain rule-breaking infringements, they get fines of thousands and thousands of euros, which we had also before. So for instance, during the last F1 race, apparently the teams just didn't care anymore. F1 regulations state that all mechanics doing a pit stop have to have both helmets and visors. Well, they had, but none of them were wearing the visors. They were all up.
Okay.
So I think 5 out of the 10 teams got fined for this,
Oy.
which is, once again, it was extremely hot, I guess. And these Europeans are not used to this.
It's
so.
not. November was still
It was
very hot.
I
Still,
remember
way hotter than it used to be. Yeah. But I think these are.
But I just want to point this out. It's unbelievable the level of professionalism in a Le Mans team versus any other race series that I've marshaled for. These Le Mans guys, because they're all fighting for a goal. The goal of Asian Le Mans is to make it to Le Mans 24 hours, right?
Yeah.
So it's their immediate benefit to make sure that nothing goes wrong. And it was insane how professional they were. So super cool. I enjoyed it. I thought I wouldn't enjoy it as much, but I did.
I just feel, and this is what I said many times, whenever I've been at the racetrack, and I've been there so many times, especially in Dubai, that the racetrack themselves does such a bad job of marketing these kind of things. I did not know that
Dubai Autodrome looks like a run-down, abandoned...
despite all of this, I mean... I didn't even know there was the Asian Le Mans, and when you knew it when you told me that you're going there, and I thought,
you didn't know.
How come that I'm on all of the mailing lists from the Autodrome and all of this stuff? I never get any of this, and it's so frustrating.
Yas does do pretty well, so I have to say Yas does. So Yas had Ferrari Challenge this weekend, and I got Instagram advertising.
How often have I been on that track? How often have I driven there? I've done so many experiences, so many of track days and all of the stuff, and I still don't get these. I don't know. I find that sometimes a bit frustrating because you think there could be so many more.
Let me go one
visitors.
step further.
Yeah.
You know how they could also get some more. Why is it the Yas Marina doesn't exist on Gran Turismo, on Assetto Corsa, on any of the proper racing games? Why aren't they licensing the tracks?
And that's one of the things why I got Project Cars for my PlayStation. Because it has a Dubai Autodrome on it. Because I wanted to practice before I actually do my track days.
Exactly.
And then you can check the different circuit, the club circuit, the full circuit, and all of the other little things that the configurations you can do. And it helps so much to know exactly where the track goes, right? And then know the corners and the sequence of the corners and everything else. I mean, it's really, really super helpful to practice on simulators, as also the Formula One drivers do, right?
Speaking of simulators, I spent the last 2 days, 2 nights, I should say, at my friend's house, building a simulator, helping him build.
Yeah.
From I think like 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. 2 nights in a row, and I'll show you the end product.
Okay, I can see a racing seat, and a big curved screen. I think I see.
So he's got a 47-inch curved monitor.
That's nice.
He got the Track Racer TR80.
Okay, I see the steering wheel with all of the stuff that looks very professional.
Everything is Sim Magic.
Okay,
which is the pedals alone are just absolutely stunning.
They look for the listeners. They look like they have shock absorbers and springs and everything in it. Yeah, they do actually. So
yeah, I mean it's absolutely nuts. But anyway, yeah. So it's a TR80 GT3 style setup, and it's absolutely stunning. Oh my god, it was so cool. But we built it, but we never plugged it in.
Oh no!
So he's doing that today.
Yeah,
we didn't have time. I left home.
The weekend.
Yeah, Christy, my wife, was very not pleased when I came home last night at 10:30 again. So.
Yeah, it's important things for humanity, right? I mean, having a race simulator in somebody else's home and setting it up.
No, this is the same guy that helped me do all of the work on my car.
Okay.
So I owed him one, and his parting words after we finished was, I would say I owe you one, but we both know that's not true. Because he had helped me so long. He was the one that installed the intercooler with me for my car.
But it's also fun, right? I mean, building something is always fun, especially if you're in a profession like you and me are, where we are basically teaching or instructing or helping people do things.
Yeah.
You're actually not physically producing things. Yes, you're producing outcomes and knowledge and all of these things, but it's lovely to actually create something
tangible outcomes. Let's say.
Okay, so I am.
All right, what are you wearing?
My Tissot.
That was a long one.
Tissot PRX Glacier Blue. I changed it back onto the bracelet. I have this nice Moonswatch Speedmaster on the desk. I was thinking of changing, but see, good, I didn't. Otherwise, we would have had the same watch. Yeah.
We had that last episode,
Yeah,
I think, or a couple episodes ago when we matched.
Yes.
G-Shocks. So.
Indeed.
All right. You want to tell the ladies and gentlemen what the topic is for today?
Yeah.
Or they already know because they read the
Dear
title.
listeners, you asked, we answered. Well, not yet, but we will
Well,
answer.
technically, we asked for them to ask.
We asked,
So
you answered.
We asked for you to
so
ask,
that we
for you
can
to answer.
Answer your questions. Isn't that amazing?
Yes.
Yeah, it's
So
okay. So
it's the Q&A episode.
just diving in.
I've got 13 questions that made the cut. So I don't understand this. So I put these Instagram reels, stories, whatever, up, and I asked. First one, we got one question. Second one, we had like 10. Third one, we had one.
Okay.
So I don't know what happened on that third one or the second one where everyone responded, but nonetheless,
Time of the day, the algorithms. Who knows?
Something, something was up. But nonetheless, we'll start out with a dear friend of mine. You've met her as well, Inesh, who asked a very good question. Which Inesh is a proponent of quiet luxury. She was actually the one that kind of introduced this word quiet luxury to me a couple of years ago. Now, her question is, which brand would you say epitomizes quiet luxury the best?
Okay. My immediate answer is Parmigiani Fleurier.
Do you want to, before we go there, do we want to define what it is for the listeners? You want to tell the listeners what quiet luxury is?
Quiet luxury are extremely high-end luxury products that do not advertise their heritage or their brand itself. They basically
But they have it.
They have brand cachet, of course, but the problem is they have it because of superior quality rather than their marketing and other things. They are being worn. They're mostly timeless designs that can be worn forever. They have a specific style. You know, this whole TV series.
Loro Piana.
Yeah, Loro Piana, Bruno Cucinelli, these kind of brands that have this style. It could also be Bottega Veneta and others where there is no brand logo really to see, right?
But you recognize what it is based on the Bottega Veneta, because of the weave of the leather.
If you know,
immediately you can recognize.
If you know. That's the thing.
Correct.
But the thing is, not everybody knows. LV, you can identify from 10 kilometers away because the big LV logos on most of the things. Armani used to be a bit like this. But
wait. Let's pause there for a second. Would you say this is quiet?
Not at all. It's shouty.
But it doesn't have a brand logo.
It does. You just showed it to me. There.
No, it's Damier Ben.
It says Louis Vuitton Paris.
There's no brand. A tiny little square, 1 out of 16, 25 squares,
so
whatever.
Burberry is the same. It's loud because of the weave.
But Burberry is the check plaid. Yeah. Okay, so it's loud and, okay, all right. So now, the opposite of Louis Vuitton.
So, sorry, you just showed me a card holder with the, what is this called? The
Damier Ben.
The what? Damier?
The checkered.
Yeah. Checkered
Damier Ben.
LV pattern.
The brown. No, it's not LV pattern.
It's a checkered pattern.
The LV pattern is the monogram pattern, right? Mm-hmm. Monogram pattern, I would argue, is loud.
No, this is also...
Damier Ben, I would argue, is quiet.
I have a wallet like this, and I wouldn't call it quiet.
Because everybody knows what it is from the pattern.
Because,
which I guess patterns could...
Burberry would be the same.
All right, we could say that.
So,
Yeah, it would be. It would be. Okay. That being said, what would you say? You said Parmigiani Fleurier, which is surprising. I wouldn't have. I thought you would have picked something else.
No, that's for me.
Because to me, Parmigiani Fleurier.
The new designs with just PF on the dial and nothing else. It could be that together with Moser, these kind of things that are just, they are not advertising their brand.
Okay, Moser, if we look at like a streamliner, I'm going to say 50-50 on it. Even if there's no branding on it, The Streamliner has a very iconic shape. If we're talking about something like a Heritage with the tone-on-tone logo, I
don't think we can say iconic yet to something that is so new.
Yeah, okay.
Right?
What do you want to call it? Recognizable? Distinctive. Okay, all right.
But I wouldn't, yeah. Anyhow,
my issue is, so I was going to say, I don't really like the what were we talking about? The Parmesan and Fleuries, the PFs. I'm not a huge fan of them. I would hazard a guess, once again, Quiet Luxury, Laurent Ferrier.
Sure. Yeah, definitely. Laurent Ferrier is absolutely in that category.
I mean, just impeccably made.
And also the designs are muted without being boring. I mean, they borderline maybe a bit on the boring, but in a good way.
Yeah, but boring is fine. Exactly. I'm okay with boring. You know what? I'm going to go totally opposite here. You want to go Quiet Luxury? Get a metal G-Shock. Everyone thinks it's a $30 G-Shock, and it could be an MRG that costs 20,000 dirhams.
Yeah, that is stealth wealth, I would say.
That's not Quiet Luxury in essence. It's camouflaging something expensive as something less expensive.
I agree. I think that's stealth wealth, I would say, right? So
stealth wealth. Okay. So stealth wealth is different.
Which could be a bit of the same Quiet Luxury to a certain extent. Yeah, stealth wealth.
Because before we had the word Quiet Luxury, we called it stealth wealth, right? That's what we used to call it. I would say a Rolex Explorer. Rolex Explorer.
I would say it's too identifiable for that. It is it's still a bit too shouty just because it's so. Okay.
Grand Seiko.
Yeah, Grand Seiko. I would totally subscribe to that.
Yeah, I think that's my thinking about it, because I didn't think about the questions. I wanted to make sure we discussed them live. So I think Grand Seiko would be depends on what level of Quiet Luxury you want to be at.
If you're going with these minute repeater that you have now from Credo or Grand Seiko, these high end
or an Ichi-1, a Credo Ichi-1, that's insane. Levels of Quiet Luxury, and it looks like, and I held one at Dubai Watch Week. A friend of ours, Ed, was wearing one, and he let me wear it, and it's absolutely stunning. Yeah, just the workmanship. Every line on that dial is hand painted, and every marker, and it's like perfectly straight. And I don't know how they have the hands to do this, but
or how many did they try that didn't work out? What's the failure rate?
All right.
All right. That was an excellent question. I like this question.
It's a good one. All right. So next, this kind of goes into it. We just talked about G-Shocks. YouTube handle, Our You Doing? Our H-O-U-R. You Doing? Joey Tribbiani, right? Other than G-Shocks, do you guys own any other quartz watches?
Should I answer?
I don't.
I do.
Would I want one? Absolutely. An Elegante, an FP Journe Elegante is a quartz watch, and I would 100,000% have one.
I have owned Grand Seiko quartz watches in the high end. I do just showed this to you. That's the Moon Swatch is a quartz watch. I do have a Citizen satellite wave watch, which is a quartz watch that also has a GPS receiver and all of the stuff, and can actually, receive the time zone and the time information from the GPS satellites, which is pretty cool. I have my first actual luxury watch, which I considered luxury because at the time it was 2,500 dirhams or something, or 2,000 dirhams, something like that. It's a Citizen perpetual calendar chronograph that I still have. Echo Drive, which is, that will never leave my collection. It's a lovely watch. It's quartz. My wife has a Breitling in quartz, a chronograph, a JLC compressor, chronograph, Mecca quartz stuff. So also that. An LV tambour from Louis Vuitton, an older one, with great quartz movements in there with an independent hour hand, right? Which is great for traveling because you never stop the timekeeping and stuff like that. It's so really lovely.
So
So
if we're including the wife's watches, then yeah.
Quartz, definitely.
My wife has a Panthère, a Cartier Panthère, which only comes in quartz. And I would argue that the Panthère is, once again, an iconic design, and it's only available and only has ever been available in quartz, which is the opposite of what Jean-Claude Biver likes to say, right, with Blanc Parme. There has never been an automatic or manual wind Panthère, and there never will be.
You flipped it on his head. But last week I was at a lunch. We went to Dubai Mall, to Maison Izu, right? In the Dubai Mall. Chef Izu is very famous in Dubai. And from LPM and Lasser and all of this stuff. So he has his own restaurants, chains nowadays. It was excellent food, but we were on a table and we had one 37mm Audemars Piguet two-tone Royal Oak. We had a Streamliner chronograph from Moser. We had another 33mm Audemars Piguet Royal Oak, Rolex Day-Date, and my Vacheron Constantin Overseas. So that was and we didn't do a wrist shot from all of us together because that would be cool. And when we were discussing this 33mm Royal Oak there for a brief moment, again, 3 ladies on the table, so 2 men, 3 ladies, it had no second hand, right?
Yeah. So you don't know it's ticking.
It doesn't even matter if it's a quartz watch or not. I mean, you wouldn't know. And it doesn't really matter for the wearer. I mean, if you don't care, that is, right, of course, if it's automatic or not. It's actually very nice. Like the Panthère, that doesn't have a second hand either, right? Yeah.
So my wife has had a number of quartz watches. She had the Constellation, which we recently sold, no seconds hand. She had the Cartier Tank, no seconds hand. What else? So generally anything without a seconds hand, you're never going to know.
I think we all went to this collector's thing in the beginning when we start make mechanical watches, and we feel this I don't know, this aha moment to think like, oh my God, mechanical watches are so much more interesting, so much more alive. They need they need care. There's a bit like a Tamagotchi. If you don't do something, like you don't wear it or you don't wind it, it will die.
It's gonna die.
And all of this stuff. Yeah, it's and you feel so superior to quartz watches that you get very snobbish in the beginning when you're in your collector's journey.
Yep.
And then eventually that changes again, and you see quartz watches as an absolute legitimate way of movement, right? It's just a different...
I mean, once again, Grand Seiko, I would totally own a Grand Seiko quartz.
Yeah, I had one. It's beautiful. It's lovely.
9F quartz movements are unbelievable. Yeah. Not to mention spring drive, which we won't get into.
I have one question from somebody who said that would you have to service quartz movements, right? And that Grand Seiko, for example, says, no, you don't. You should send it for water resistance testing and all of this stuff and battery changes. But basically, it's so hermetically sealed, even from the battery compartment, that it doesn't need any kind of servicing for about 50 years if you're going with these 9F movements. It's pretty insane, right? Yeah.
All right, let's move on. Our friend Mahmoud, who has been on our channel a couple of times. His Instagram handle is OiWatchIt.
OiWatchIt.
He asks, and he should know better than this, when are you going to have a YouTube channel? Well, Mahmoud, we already have a YouTube channel. We've had a YouTube channel the entire time. I think that's not what he was asking.
He wants video.
He's asking, when are we actually going to make videos about something? Well, no, we post every one of our podcasts ends up on YouTube, just in case somebody wants to watch it through YouTube as opposed to watching or listening through it through traditional means. But the issue is to make a YouTube video is insanely difficult. The amount of production time that goes into it would be insane. Post-production as well. I've made the offer to a couple people. I said, okay, we will record an episode and you can do whatever it is that you want to with it. You put together some pictures, some clips from around the internet, and then you make the video. And everyone who I've offered this to has said, no thanks. So essentially, I told them, listen, all you have to do is make a video, and we'll give you the shout out. You'll be a part of the Loom Plotters. You can do anything you want. But everyone has thought about it. And said,
we could technically record ourselves as well and then put something together. But the amount of...
Yeah, but that's boring. Nobody wants to watch
No,
us.
I think...
Once again, how many channels have gotten ruined by people showing their faces? Andrew Morgan, number one.
He does not ruin himself.
Let's talk about ID Guy. ID Guy's videos were way... I don't need to look at him. You don't show me your face. I don't need to see you.
No, I do understand. I do understand sometimes that people love...
And Andrew Morgan with his soothing voice and his very nice, and then you see his face. I'm like, that doesn't add up.
No, that's not true.
Like that voice is coming out of that guy. It doesn't work. And it was much better before I saw his face.
True. I do feel...
And it's the same way with Ralph.
Yeah, the first time you saw me, right? You thought like, oh no, damn. And now we are doing FaceTime, so we actually see each other, see? And we see each other. You said to me as well, said, no, we shouldn't. We should have videos so we know how we are reacting to each other. So I do feel there is
We should have video, but the listeners don't need the video.
No, I feel there is sometimes it's a good way to actually better connect to people. I do feel it can be a bit more complicated if we are doing it, because now I would have to suddenly think about the background of my video. I would have to think about my lighting, on my camera production and all of this stuff. Well, we both have enough equipment to do it, I think, right? We could do that, but it's just a bit more effort, because then we have to make also our appearances more polished. You can't just step out of the shower and saying, okay, here I am. We should then look a bit more presentable. And these are things that...
we don't want to look presentable.
Exactly.
As I sit here in a button up in a wool sweater. No, I look great.
Polo shirting. Yeah.
Yes.
See?
Yeah. I did come from work.
But on the other hand, I mean, if Federico Talks Watches can do it without any...
Oh, God. That's another person who I'd love to not see. Like, I remember watching a video of him, and he's like, for my 30th birthday. I'm like, dude, I thought you were 70. Like, he just turned 30. Like, oh, my God, what happened to him? Like,
I don't think he looks old. No.
He looks old and unhealthy. Like, he looks like he's going to have an aneurysm any second of the day.
I do think, I think he needs to lose a bit of weight. He was on this journey before, but then I don't know what.
I think he started to. He looked skinnier, and then I don't know what happened. Also, another person who I'd rather have not seen is the used car salesman himself. What was it? TGV or whatever his name is. What's his channel called?
The Urban Gentry.
The Urban Gentry. Like, this is a guy that I would see in New York standing at like a sleazy used car showroom. Like, come on, we'll give you no financing deals. Come, his hair's like slicked down with like the remnants of last night's dinner, like just in his hair. I mean, that guy is once again a sleazy looking guy.
Yeah. See,
so once in a while, you need to understand who you are and what you look like.
So I think this was
once you've done that,
it was a very long answer for or you watch it.
Yes.
So
he asked another question too.
I
So apparently it was a two-parter. It was a two-parter. He asked another one, which we'll just go ahead and answer this one now. Will we ever go back? I'm assuming will we, in the grand scheme of things, ever go back to carrying pocket watches?
Like we as a society, as a humanity?
As a society, as a humanity, I think. That's why the general we.
I think we actually already do. There's everybody who doesn't,
iPhones.
Exactly, everybody who uses their mobile phone as looking at the time, which... Honestly, I think half of the population are actually doing this because they're not wearing a watch anymore.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Your phone, your iPhone is a pocket watch.
Yeah.
Done. End of story. If we're talking traditional mechanical pocket watches, we have to go through the fact that you had to wear a very specific waistcoat to wear a pocket watch.
More useful, yeah.
I don't see us going back to wearing waistcoats when everything is getting more casual. you cannot put a pocket watch in your front pocket. I mean, you could, but that's not how. Well, supposedly there was a chain that was supposed to attach to a button, so that way, if you accidentally drop it, it wouldn't fall. There was a lot of precautions in wearing a pocket watch. So, being that that's not happening,
no, I do think it's a niche of very selective collectors. Or niche, as some Americans would like to say.
Niche, yeah. But let me just also say this. It is a very economical way of getting into collecting certain brands.
And complications.
And certain movements. Exactly.
Yeah.
So if you want a perpetual calendar from Patek, you look at their watches, it's going to cost you an arm and a leg and a liver and a kidney. But if you look at it in pocket watch terms, you could probably get it for the price of a Omega Seamaster.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe. I didn't check, but
and it's going to be solid gold as well.
I mean, pocket watches and 100-year-old pocket watches that are still working absolutely fine and can be serviced anywhere. And the coolest thing is most of them have case backs that you can just unattach or open without any glass on it, because these are robust movements that are basically open, right? Yeah. So they're not water resistant at all, and it's really interesting to see. These are tractors. I mean, the movements, they have strong hairsprings, they have big parts, they are robust. Yeah, I like them. All
right, next question. This is not a watch related question, but it is a UAE related question. Liam Mulholland asks, what is the best and worst thing about living in the UAE?
No, worst thing at the moment is the traffic. I mean, that's.
No, I have no traffic in a lane. What are you talking about? This is UAE, not Dubai.
Well,
you have to think about it.
Yeah, but I don't live.
There's traffic in a few places. I don't live in Ras Al Khaimah,
so I can't report on that. I can only say from my perspective at the moment.
You can't generalize. You can generalize and say weather. So weather would be fine.
Generally, I would say cost of living can be quite high.
Yes.
So that's annoying, and the traffic is annoying. So these are the two big ones that are really annoying to me.
I don't have the traffic issue. So for me, of course, cost of living is going up and up and up and up. That is a partial issue. But I would say, obviously, the weather in the summer, not just the summer, but the 75% of the year when it's absolutely miserable. It takes away from us enjoying outdoors. Right now, the weather is absolutely phenomenal. And my daughter is going and playing golf 5 days a week, going to the driving range, and we're spending so much time outdoors. And as soon as the weather starts to heat up again, we know that this is gone. And I think that is ultimately the biggest drawback to UAE. Of course, it opens the door to other activities like swimming, which you can do year round here, but you can't do anywhere else. So there are pros, but I think my biggest issue is weather. I like wearing jackets. I like wearing coats, and sweaters, and, I can't do this year round, and it bugs me. I have a nice collection of cashmere sweaters that I would love to wear, but I can't.
You know how happy I was when I was in Chengdu, and I could wear my, thick jackets and my sweaters and my turtlenecks and my belt stuff and barboy jacket and stuff. I was really happy. Yeah, it was really cool.
All right.
Yep.
Now flip it. Best thing. Are we going to say the same thing?
I think this is one of the most. I always say that. I mean, this is the absolute when other people tell you about the melting pot, right? That the countries are melting pots. I feel that here you are exposed to so many different cultures and nationalities. It is just absolutely phenomenal. It's so enriching for your life, for your personal horizon. I mean, in my first company I worked for, they had 102 different nationalities in the company. It's a hospitality company, but this is how many people from different nationalities. You can't even list them all, right?
And I think I don't know what the university says, but last time I checked,
amazing.
But last time I remembered, it said something along the lines of there's faculty members at the university that I teach at from like 85 different countries.
See, this is amazing. And that's what I think.
So it is. But there's a downside to this, of course, is the fact that you end up with a lot of Lebanese who claim to be American. You end up with a lot of Lebanese who claim to be Canadian. You end up with a lot of Lebanese who claim to be British. And all of a sudden you got 3 countries, yet they're all Lebanese.
Yeah, but
right. So yes, this is not exactly a number. This is not
if you're talking to people from East Timor and whatever, Burkina Faso, which you do, and you meet people from Bhutan and all of these different countries where you usually have no exposure to. And you can just discuss all the differences in culture and then have these lovely days where usually in companies do this, where you present your own culture and nation a bit. Lovely things. So that's lovely. Then, of course, tax-free living is great. We have access to absolute world-class facilities in any regard, from healthcare to infrastructure to cheap cars, cheap petrol, to
let's.
I mean,
just
cheap
say
as
this.
in the car prices are much.
I don't
lower
see. I would
Europe.
say personally, when we lived in the U.S., did we spend a lot of time in 5-star hotels? Probably not. And here, all of a sudden,
okay,
it's
that was also
available.
because
It's
of alcohol
there.
and alcohol licenses that you can only get
Yes.
them in hotels. That obviously, yeah. And here's a lot of luxury going around. And of course, salary levels are relatively good. It's tax-free income. The infrastructure is great.
And you still haven't mentioned safety out of all this, which is my number one.
This is one of the things that a lot of people are saying, but what about freedom, right? And for me, freedom is also being free from fear.
From being shot
fear
at.
From being ruined when you break your leg. Fear from, just...
Financially, that is.
All of these other things where you think, this is also something where you can be very free. Right?
Yes, absolutely. I would say the stress levels, knowing that if, I get cancer tomorrow, I would not go bankrupt.
Yep. So because we have mandatory
that is a huge thing.
Health insurance here.
And not just mandatory, it's insanely good. So, my health insurance is unbelievably good. But anyway, going back, because this is a watch show.
Okay, so let's go about watches. Of course.
No, I'm saying about safety. You could wear any watch at any time,
As
anywhere.
I said, we were just having this lunch yesterday, and man, I mean, everybody's just rocking everything they have or whatever they want. It doesn't matter. Nobody cares, and that's the next thing is nobody really cares. There's no thieves. There's no robberies. Sure, you should always make sure that you're not silly, but generally pickpockets and all of this stuff doesn't really exist here. I mean, we don't have this issue, right? I mean, we are completely blasé if it comes to this. We sometimes are, if we travel, we have to remind ourselves to not run around like we do in Dubai because...
my daughter left her phone at a restaurant last weekend, and we left, we drove home, and then sure enough, we get a call from the restaurant saying, "Oh, your phone is here." So it's unbelievable. Like, that phone was probably sitting on a table for God knows how long. And nobody.
But it's like in the mall, you go into a table and it's saying, okay, you put your wallet and your phone on the table to reserve your space, and then you go to the restroom.
Yes.
So that's the level of how you do it. It's completely insane. You couldn't do that anywhere else. Anyhow, next topic, next question.
All right. Cool. Next question is a friend of ours, Patrick, who goes by the Instagram handle. Hold on, I forgot what it is because I cropped I screenshotted all of these and I cropped it out. But in 1 second, I will tell you what it is. Relos Mio, RELOS_MIO. He asks, he's got quite the collection, and he says, Relos being the Latin for, not Latin, but Latin / any Spanish / I'm assuming he's Filipino.
Where are you going?
So I'm assuming maybe in Tagalog, because reloj is Spanish for watch, right? So relos, plural. Okay, point of story. Having followed Ralph's collection culling, I want to boil down my collection to 5 pieces. He gives us a list. I will list the list in a moment. What do I cull? Or, as an entire topic, how do you decide when to let something go? So first, let's answer the first part. What does he let go? I will read the collection. We have a Rolex Submariner Hulk. Are you mentally writing all this down?
I'm fully focused.
We have a Patek Aquanaut, the traditional one with the blackish greenish dial. We have an AP Jumbo blue dial. We have a yellow gold champagne dial Rolex day date. A Rolex GMT Pepsi. A Lange Saxonia. A Baltic X Perpetuel Tricompax.
Mm-hmm.
A Timex Marlin. Cartier Solar Beat tank. And a Hamilton Pilot Pioneer, which is the small 36mm one, and a Submariner No Date 14060M.
Yeah.
So altogether, we're looking at 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 watches. We need to cut down 6 of them. Which are you cutting?
Yeah, I know that sounds really, really bad, but
I'm gonna cut the Baltic right off.
Baltic. So
the Hamilton, the Timex.
So and now let me get my strategy towards this. My strategy would be, I don't know for which amounts of money you bought them for. If you bought them for high prices on the secondary market or for retail price, I don't know. But my idea is always how hard would it be for you to replace that watch if you wanted to buy it again? This is also makes it, for me at least, much, much easier to part from a watch. For example, the Submariner can be now had for less, for a very small premium, if even at all. Sometimes you can get it basically for retail nowadays, especially older models, right? So don't worry about it. You can always get another one, right? If there's no sentimental value to it, the first one was a sub, right?
Yeah, he has 2 subs. So 100%, I'd say get rid of the Hulk.
You have a Pepsi.
Immediately.
That's the most iconic Rolex.
No, hell no. Absolutely not. You keep that sub, the 14060M, the vintage
subs
one.
can go. You have the Pepsi and you have a day date.
No, you cannot.
Do not need a sub.
Absolutely not. No. You keep the vintage sub.
Go.
You keep the vintage sub.
There's too many of them. Go.
Stay.
Go
right.
At Timex, go.
All right.
Baltic,
here.
go.
You tell me. So you say no Baltic, no Timex, 2 subs.
Yeah, already 5 gone.
Hamilton.
Yeah, can go.
Okay, and did you say the Baltic already?
Yeah, I'm with you.
2 subs, a Baltic, a Timex, Hamilton, and then you have to choose one more. What, the Cartier tank? The Solar Beat?
It's tough, but unfortunately, I know it sounds a bit bad that I'm only keeping the very expensive watches to a certain extent. But I feel like the Pepsi is the most iconic one. A day date in gold is an absolutely crazy aspirational watch, and you should keep it because that is the only gold watch. So keep that.
The Jumbo,
yeah, I don't think you can let go of that. And a Patek. So you have one AP, one Patek, perfect. You have 2 Rolexes, which are great. And then what was the one left there?
The
Lange Saxonia. I
get
would,
rid of it.
I would not. No. I would keep the Saxonia.
You would get rid of.
But I would maybe change that to a 1815. But that's me. But that's a different story. But the Lange is also, it's a
I prefer the Saxonia over the 1815.
Yeah, I don't. No.
I think the Saxonia is a much more dressy watch than the 1815.
That's why I probably don't like it.
So you're saying the Saxonia is gone?
No.
You cannot bring watches into this.
No, but
you're getting rid of watches.
But then again, it's the Cartier. I would rather get rid of the Cartier than the Lange, from me personally.
Okay, there you go. So your 5 is going to be the Patek, the Royal Oak, the Day Date, the Pepsi, and the Lange.
Correct. And the Pepsi would be my daily wearer then for all of these and the Day Date.
Yeah.
I know it sounds a bit weird.
I could see that. So I'm going to get rid of almost everything that you got rid of. So the Baltic is gone, the Timex is gone, the Cartier is gone, the Hamilton's gone. That's 4. I'm going to get rid of the Hulk. I despise the Hulk. I think it's a hideous watch. So that I've always thought. I am keeping the 14060M, and I'm going to get rid of the Longa as well. If I'm 50-50 on this. Would I get, you know what? I'm going to get rid of the Pepsi. Screw the Pepsi. You don't need it.
If you keep
I would say my 5-watch collection.
For me, if you keep the Hulk, I would let go of the Pepsi, but I wouldn't. A normal sub is just, for me, it's like everybody has one. It's way too many.
Yeah, this is the reason you have one. So I would say you keep the sub. You have a sub and the date as your 2 Rolexes. Then you have your Saxonia, your Patek, and your AP. 5-watch collection there.
Yeah, for me, it's
done.
It's
reasonably,
no
I would want this to be a 6-watch collection, and I would keep the
Pepsi. Also
because the Pepsi I would have.
Think about it. If you have a 5-watch box, which I don't think they exist, they usually have 6.
Here it is, 5-watch box.
Damn,
that's what he has.
See, okay,
hence why
excellent. 1 on the wrist, 5 in the box,
down.
6.
Yes. Archie Luxury said this.
So that's it.
Okay, that's totally fine. But yes,
then
I have
absolutely
zero remorse in cutting the Hulk. I think it's hideous.
I do understand why you would keep it if you have a sub and a Hulk. I mean, it's the same watch, it's just different colors. So I would then, in that way, I would keep the Hulk because it's way more rare.
14060M is vintage and it's aluminum bezel. Hulk is new and ceramic. That's kind of the big difference.
Yeah, I still would keep the Hulk. It's rarer. So, yeah, if it would be me. But then it's green.
Moving on.
So, you never know if it fits, if you like it. So it's something that...
No, it's not the right green. I have a green Oris, the forest green. Forest green is the right green.
Is lovely.
That emerald green, are you, freaking Dorothy?
Did you see the new forest green Vacheron Constantin?
No, I did not.
Perpetual, what is this called? This rotor on the side.
We're never going to finish.
In a tourbillon, forest green, and it has this peripheral rotor. Oh my God, this watch is amazing. But price upon request. So that already means I cannot afford it. Yeah, so.
You cannot afford it. If you have to ask, you can't afford it.
Exactly.
That's the rule. All right, moving on. We're going to do a little quick fire round. We have DGAF Dizzle asking 2 questions.
For the price of 1.
Yeah, 2 for the price of 1.
Okay.
Cartier is on the rise, and a lot of collectors are coming out of the blue. Why now? I'm going to kick this one off. I think the reason everybody's getting into Cartier is because we couldn't get Rolexes.
No.
That's number 1. Number 2 was there was a kind of a shift. I don't know when this shift happened, but it happened recently. A shift towards dressier and smaller watches. And I think the reason was during COVID, everyone went sports watch crazy because we didn't go anywhere. When you're staying at home in lockdown, you are wearing a sports watch. As soon as you started going back to work, you realized the joy of dressing up. And then people started to get into more dressy pieces. So that's the reason I think it was now. And what do you think?
I think, that could be a reason. But I personally feel Cartier had just done a better way of marketing their watches. I think that
they don't market
no,
their
they
watches.
have so many of the influencers and actors who actually got Cartiers.
It's subliminal marketing,
but that's
right?
the thing. You see them more. You see them more on Instagram. And the more you see something, the more you tend to like it. It's human behavior, right? So... And that's why I think a lot of people got more used to the idea like, oh yeah, actually the Cartier is actually quite nice. Same happened with me. I do feel like, yes, a Santos is definitely something I could see in my collection. So for me, it's a Santos. I just think that's for me personally, it's
the one I have,
the one that you have. Maybe in the bigger size for me, I don't know. But that's something where I think.
But the date window is so ugly.
Yeah, I like the dates in any case. So I do feel they make just very, very good watches. It is a bit surprising to a certain extent. They do have Val Fleurier movements that they use. They do their own. So they have a lot of good stuff going on for them. And they are just a brand that I think has never been watered down, right? They are not collaborating with anybody.
Yeah, they are them. They are, and this is the thing: is
Cartier
everything they do is
such a-
very Cartier.
And they have managed to move with the times, right? They are not a stale old brand that just is run by grumpy old men.
Somehow it's still
just a energetic,
still
cool
alive
brand that still makes really lovely luxury products. I mean, jewelry and other things.
And that the red box, right? It's iconic. I like using the word iconic.
Yeah.
All right, next question from him. Where do you see the market going, especially in the gray side of it all?
Yeah.
Well, obviously the market is going down, right? It's softening.
It is already.
As a result, gray market is also softening. So I think in the future, we're going to be able to buy watches that we want. And ultimately, what I would like to see, whether it's going to happen or not, I want the gray market side of things to go back to where it used to be, where the gray market was the cheaper alternative to buying from an AD, not the, I can't get it at the AD, so I have to go gray market. Because
this will still be the point for hype watches that are very rare or that are just very impossible to get, right? Because there was
always the case.
I mean, the Pepsi you won't get from Rolex anytime soon. So you will always have to pay a premium and you have to go gray in order to get it right away.
Yeah.
However,
but in general
for 90% of the watches or 95% of the watches, you go to the gray dealer to get it at a discount. And then, of course, the authorized dealers will also or might also offer you discounts to a certain extent. So yeah, we are going back to that. Some of I think we already saw one Timepiece 360 has a Gerard-Perregaux Laureato Blue 2021 model in excellent condition. Guess the price they sell it for without any negotiation. 25K. What's the retail price? 53. I don't need to have to say anything anymore.
I almost got an overseas for 50K.
And that includes the dealer premium, right? I mean, this is not an auction. This is this is how you can actually buy it for. So,
all right, Ralph, you're really, really bad at time management. Just FYI.
Me? I didn't talk about my track days for hours here.
Little minute.
Yes, okay, come on.
All right. Quick fire, one-word answer. Tom OCTM, excuses, asks, what is your favorite watch in your collection?
And I have to answer.
We'll do this two ways. Okay. My favorite watch in my collection, my favorite watch in your collection, and you send it back to me, okay? I'll go first. My favorite watch in my collection is most likely my Explorer 1. My favorite watch in your collection, probably the Gurner.
Did I tell you that my Gurner is not with me anymore?
Why?
Because it's at Rolex. Because it stopped working.
What happened? How did it stop
Just like that, in the box. It's stuck. Like stuck. The second hand doesn't move. Fully round. I shook it. I pulled out the time. I set the time. I put out the date, the hour hand, everything. Put it back in, back out. It just stopped, period. It doesn't tick. Not a single second hand tick. So brought it back to Rolex. No. I mean, half a year old. What to do? Sad moment. And now I'm waiting. So yeah, that's,
Okay, go.
In your collection, my favorite watch would probably be...
Santos. You already said it.
No, I don't think it's my favorite of your collection, is it?
I don't know.
I don't know exactly. I don't have your entire collection in my mind.
Reverso.
Yeah, that's a lovely watch, but I don't think it would be my favorite. I think it's either that or the Speedy. Just the normal Speedy that you're wearing right now.
The Speedy, yeah.
But you also have lovely Grand Seiko. So I would probably say that. Out of my own collection at the moment, I really, really enjoy my Vacheron Constantin overseas. But yeah, I don't have favorite children, so
Yeah, naturally. So your answer for me is Speedy, right?
I think Speedy or Santos.
What else do I have? Because I said Gurner for you hesitatingly. It's trying to think about what else do I like from your collection that much. What else do I always compliment you on?
I don't know.
Yeah, all right. Let's move on. It's too. We could talk about this all day. All right.
Next question.
Strap Up Calm asks, how has the hobby changed since starting your podcast? So how has things changed for you?
Good question. My watch collecting hasn't much changed.
Just general, how has things changed?
Things changed.
Well, we got an interview with Jean-Claude Beaver. That changed.
Yes.
We wouldn't have had that before.
No, we wouldn't have interviewed
So
him.
those
We would have
sit-downs-
maybe talked to him, but not as an interview style.
Not what we did. And I think that goes for all the interviews we had.
So I think in general, it's lovely to have a bit more socializing, even more than we had before with watch people generally. So that's lovely. Getting to know much more people, being approached by people as well to say like, hey, let's talk about watches with you. So it's really, really cool and lovely. Other than that, yes, it's taking a lot of time, which means that my priorities of how I spend my free time has shifted to a certain extent. So that's one of the things. Well, but other than that, I think from a collecting perspective, I might have, because I'm talking more about watches to people and also to, of course, Martin, I'm thinking I have probably become a bit more focused on a lot of things of how I collect and what I like. And sometimes even to think, Martin is the encouragement sometimes to say like, get rid of the watches, even if the price is not right. I mean, look at what you are getting in.
There's no need to keep something if you don't like it, is my theory, right? Even if you lose money on it.
Yeah. So,
but at the end of the day, I think, I think it's nice. The biggest thing for me is we sit here for an hour a week, if not 2 hours a week, talking about watches, which I think really gets a lot of my stuff that would otherwise be jumbling around in my brain out into the, open. And then that kind of frees me up a little bit to think about other things.
Yes, my wife is actually quite happy that I'm not talking too much about watches with her.
Her, exactly. That's exactly it. Yeah. So I think most of it is personal. As we said, we appreciate everyone that listens. But if we had 0 listeners, we would still continue to make this podcast because we enjoy making it. It has nothing to do with anything else besides that.
Absolutely.
All right, next question from timebent.ae. What do you think the watch market is missing and should work on? I'm gonna go straight up. I think the watch market is missing the personal connection in a lot of places. I think people, brands like Rolex, they don't care who you are anymore. Unless you have a profile, they could give less a shit who you are. And I think that's not right. And I think they should work on this. Personalizing for the individual, making an effort to get to know your customers, regardless of spend amount, because some people will never buy more than one Rolex in their life. And they should be treated just as equally as the person who has spent 1 million dirhams or more at Siddiqui.
I totally agree with that. Luxury brands should definitely do this. This is a very, very important. I totally agree with that. It doesn't matter. You have a duty for your customers. If it's a one-time customer or a 50-time customer, it doesn't matter. But I agree with you. Certain brands are completely faceless. I mean, Rolex, the only face we know is Hans Wilsdorf, right? Who's long gone.
Yeah.
But this is the only person that they actually really put there as a Rolex person. You have ambassadors, right? They come and go, but mostly they decide very long-term for their ambassadors. But the Rolex company themselves doesn't have a face except Hans Wilsdorf. And again, he's long gone. And that's by design, I guess. Same as with Cartier, you don't have any person there. And that's, I think, okay. But what I feel like, and I'm with you there, what companies should do is, especially the watch companies, is trying to create a bit of a connection. That could be a specific collectors club. Grand Seiko does that, have the GS9 club or something, right? In the US.
But only in the US,
only in the US, yes, which is annoying. Yeah.
I mean, why?
But in these kind of things, when you buy a Grand Seiko, you are part of that club. You can sign up, right? In the US.
If you live in the US. I tried to sign up even though I have, but apparently you have to be physically located in the US.
I think these kind of little things of how to keep you as a collector happy, keep you as a customer happy, that is really
sorry.
nice.
Let me rephrase
Not just
that.
a subscription
you don't have to live in the US.
Yeah.
You don't have to live in the US. You had to have bought a watch in the US.
With an authorized
So even
dealer.
if I live in America and I bought my watch from Dubai, let's say, I wouldn't be eligible.
Oh, okay. Well, see, and these kind of things I find a bit weird. If they could say, well, you need to have a Grand Seiko to be part of the club. I don't actually believe that either. I had 4 Grand Seikos in my life. I don't have one currently, but I'm still a friend of the brand, right? So I feel this kind of relationship building, storytelling, and all of these stuff that amplifies your brand to other people, because these people who are passionate collectors are your best ambassadors, right? So they will convince their friends and family, if they're saying like, hey, I'm going to buy a watch for $5,000, they will give you that option to, why don't you think about a Grand Seiko? If they are fans of the brand.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Okay, excellent answer. Let's move on. Sebastian _timepieces asks, what releases would you like to see from Rolex at Watches and Wonders 2024? And obviously you guys have already heard our predictions, but one thing that I didn't talk about, which I recently, I think Monochrome or someone mentioned this, and I was like, yeah, that's what I want. A Gurner, which is the gray and black GMT in stainless steel with an oyster bracelet. That's what I would like to see. And I didn't mention this in our previous Rolex talks. It slipped my mind.
Yeah.
So that is my kind of one that I would like to see. I mean, obviously, the other thing I would like to see always, which will never happen, I would like to see a dark navy blue Submariner. No date.
Yeah, I think when
like stainless, as in not like a Smurf.
This is you want something that is more palatable, right? I mean, the Smurf blue is Smurf blue.
Oh, that was very, I mean, you could tell a Smurf from across the room.
Maybe that's the point. But that's true.
Yeah, that was the point. It's white gold. It's not steel.
All
right, what's yours?
I feel I would love to see a discontinuation of the colorful Oyster Perpetuals, and instead see colorful dials in a different line for a while.
Ooh, yes. Why not put in Datejusts,
for example?
Oh my God, could you imagine?
Either so that, cool. I mean, a lot of people saying, "Oh, the Stellar dials are coming back to the day dates." Yeah, great, but day dates are really quite expensive. So I would love, I mean, they have started it with the Oyster Perpetuals, which is their most affordable line. Raging success, selling out or sold out everywhere. Even some of them you can't even put it on your wish list because, it's not a wish list watch anymore. And that's the Oyster Perpetual.
My AD laughed at me when I asked for Christy for she wanted the pink one originally before it was discontinued. And his response, and I have it in WhatsApp, was laughing emojis. And I'm like, okay.
This is the Oyster Perpetual that was always within a week away of getting one, right? So
no, he offered me a bunch of other colors, but of course we didn't want those. He said I could get you silver, black, or blue. And I'm like, nah, she doesn't want those.
Yeah. So this is why I think, and this should come back, and it will come back, I guess, eventually when the market is somehow saturated with these colors. But maybe a different line, maybe the Datejust or so.
One more thing that I would like to see, and I would really, really like to see, but also a stretch that we didn't mention in the other episode. I would love to see a 36 millimeter Sky Dweller.
What? 36?
A Sky Dweller. In 36. So essentially,
that will be tough.
The size of a Datejust or a Day-Date, but with a Sky Dweller complication.
I mean, I do feel that they needed 42 for it just because it's...
they needed 42 for it, and hence why I was saying it's outlandish, but I would like one in a 36. Because then I would 150,000% buy one.
I loved mine.
If I had
I still miss mine.
I'd have to shift some things around.
I love my Gurner and my overseas, but... Yeah, I think a Sky Dweller, I would get one back. I love it. Yeah. Anyhow.
I'll put a picture up, by the way. Hodinkee a long time ago did basically a render of what it would look like. And I remember looking at it thinking that is awesome. So basically they envisioned modern watches as what would be their vintage counterparts if they had lineage.
Right.
Obviously, Skydweller doesn't have any lineage, so
I think I'll
put that picture up on
I would
Instagram.
love to see something like the Skydweller, a completely new watch line. That would be amazing. I mean, something we are talking about combination or different sizes, different colors, and all of this stuff. But if they would do something completely new again, I would love to see that.
Let's see, or bring back the Milgauss with a cooler complication of some sort. Okay. Ooh, imagine this. So do you recall JLC did the, I like to, by the way, I was telling Ralph to speed it up, and then I got into a tangent here. I do fully understand the irony of this. So JLC made their geophysic with the true second, the true beat second, right? Imagine the Milgauss coming back with that complication. It's technically an engineering watch. Mm-hmm. The whole point of it was to very precisely be able to time things, right? And that would be super cool because it's in that same family of watches. So that would be something that Rolex could do, which would be insane.
I would love that too, yeah.
All right, last question, also by Our You Doing from the very beginning. So it rounds out the whole question. Mm-hmm. I like this one because it's very applicable to me. And I think this is directed for 100% at me. What's your views on perpetual calendars if you hate date windows so much?
Yeah, that is not for me, this question, because I don't even know. Do I have any watch that doesn't have a date window? Yes, the Pelagos 39. Other than that, everything has dates. Yeah. So, answer.
My logic, which is also very twisted, is I only dislike dates by themselves. As long as there's other complications, such as the GMT function, I'm okay with it. If it's a perpetual, a calendar, or anything like that, I'm okay with it. If it's a pointer date, I'm okay with it. It's just if it's a date by itself, and I feel the watch doesn't need it. So for instance, an Explorer, an OP, Seamaster does not need a date. Stop putting a date on it. If it's a Seamaster GMT, there is a reason for the date because you technically shouldn't have a GMT function without a date function as well. So it needs to have some type of reasoning to be there. And I feel that a standalone date is added to a lot of watches that don't need it. And it kind of pisses me off. But in other places, I'm okay with it. Also, big date complications, I'm okay with.
I always feel
because it's a Pano date, it's cool.
I always feel like a date, a nicely integrated date is always appreciated for me. I do understand sometimes it's nice if it's missing because you can have a cleaner appearance and all of the stuff. And some dates are really ugly and just not nicely done. But generally, I do like my date because I actually use it to look at the date. But that's me. I actually use my watch probably more to look at the day of the month than sometimes the time.
And on that bombshell, if I forgot any of your questions or missed it, please let us know. We'll shout out to you in the next episode. So let us know if we missed anything. Thanks again for sending in the questions. I think it was a good round of questions. And we'll do this again at some point in the future, maybe next year.
Absolutely.
Depending on how many questions we get. So thanks again for contributing.
Yeah. Thank you for listening. And the birds are still buzzing. Birds are still chirping. The bees are still buzzing. The cats are still purring. The sun is still shining. Life is good. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.